Welcome to Birmingham Centenary Square for the climax of the 1993 Network Q RAC Rally. The winning car now just minutes away from here in the snow in the finish. We've had 4 days of the very best rally in action in the world. The rally's covered more than 1,600 miles after its start here in Birmingham, from the big spectator stages in the Midlands to Wales, then on to the infamous forest stages of the north before the return here. Now, we've seen some pretty appalling weather, ice, freezing fog, snow, the very worst British cocktail available, and it's made the action hazardous and often spectacular. Now, within the last hour, the world champion Juha Kankkunen has notched up his third RAC rally success in his Toyota. A short time ago, we caught up with him. Yes, lots of hugs there. A happy Toyota team with their equally happy driver at the end of the final stage. And in a few minutes' time, the winning car and its crew will drive onto the winner's rostrum here after 84.5 hours of rallying. The first car returning to the exact spot where on Sunday it started as the first car on the road.
It seems a long, long time since the 165 hopeful starters set out from Birmingham Centenary Square. Ahead of them, a 368-mile tour of racetracks and stately homes with 34 miles of special stages. There are no fewer than 3 water splashes to test both the nerves of the drivers and the aquatic qualities of the engines. There were man-made yumps like the one at Clumber, and other jumps created by the off-road antics of the drivers. As always, there was a dark horse who galloped onto the leaderboard. This year, it was Mitsubishi's Armin Schwartz. He set 3 fastest times and led the rally into Clumber Park. World champion Juha Kankkunen had to look to his laurels, and fastest times at Clumber, Donington and Myra put him at the top of the leaderboard. He had just a 14-second lead over Schwartz and 15 seconds over Ericsson in the second Mitsubishi. Colin McRae had to be content with 4th place, just ahead of his Impreza teammate Harry Vatanen. In the Group N showroom class, Gwyndaf Evans had a really excellent day. He was 13th overall, thanks to an amazing fastest time at Weston, and tomorrow he will be at home in Wales. Unfortunately, Wales didn't offer a very warm welcome to any of the drivers. On a bitter morning, the always daunting forest stages were wrapped in ice, which became highly polished as the leaders slithered through. It was a day for polished, precise and brave driving, with large helpings of luck. Armin Schwartz, the unexpected hero of day 1, soon ran out of luck and off the road. He lost 16 minutes. His teammate Kenneth Ericsson had a puncture on the same first dominant stage and lost 3 minutes. It was an incident which inspired the fight back of the rally. After a disappointing season in a new Mitsubishi, he quickly showed that recent testing was paying off. He was first on the next 2 stages and never lower than 3rd. Even Colin McRae was surprised by the conditions.
The first stage this morning and some of them today have just been like ice rings. I mean, it's a lottery really. I mean, it's not a test of driving skill at all. It's just pure luck who stays on the road and who doesn't.
And Malcolm Wilson, also improving stage by stage, had some typically honest comments.
I can't believe it, really. I mean, it's just, you sit there and you're just waiting for things to happen. You're waiting for the bang, and you turn the steering wheel and nothing happens. You brake and the car goes quicker.
This is one car that proved both the point and the perils. Dougie Watson-Clark showing just how icy it was. Then Johnny Milner demonstrated the art of threading a rally car through 2 large trees. Finally, Chris Rees put his roll cage to the test. Other corners proved equally hazardous. This is the excursion that dropped Harry Vatanen from 4th to 8th. Matthew Clark, son of Roger, crashed out when lying 16th. It had been quite a debut. 50-year-old Jimmy McRae was equally unfortunate. He knocked a corner off his Volkswagen while lying 27th. While other back markers were in a jam, the battle for the lead between Kankkunen and McRae was really hotting up, as Steve Lee enthused.
It was exactly what the army of Colin McRae fans wanted to see. Just as he'd done last year, the Scotsman was flat out in Wales, showing all his vast potential. He was fastest in 3 of the last 4 stages of the day. And as darkness fell and the icy roads became even trickier, there was no holding him. He took the lead, and on merit. Kankkunen was having problems simply keeping McRae off his shoulder. He admitted as much on stage 16. Frankly, he had enough problems of his own as the Toyota slid its way through the forest tracks. It was a day to test the best drivers like Kankkunen to their very limits. More good news for Britain, Malcolm Wilson in 3rd spot overall at the end of the day. But his performance on the last 4 stages not quite as good as his earlier adventures. But his escort Cosworth was still setting quite a pace.
RAC Rally, and as he comes onto the ramp, a big welcome for Colin McRae.
Meet the mayor of Lancaster.
Very enthusiastic people you have here.
Oh yes, very much, yes.
They'll keep the heat in.
They'll keep the heat in, yeah. Colin, right, well, you're looking very happy now. When you started off, you had a terrible cold, but is that getting better?
It's just about the same, but it's getting better.
I've got bad news for you. You're giving it to me as well.
Well, can't win them all.
Tell me, what have the stages been like today in Wales?
They've been very slippy. It's been like driving in an ice rink most of the time. Very difficult.
Lots of people have had lots of problems. What's been your problem at all?
None at all. That's why we're leading.
We'll return to the story of the rally in just a moment. First, a driver's eye view of Britain's toughest motorsport event. Our in-car cameras, as always, capture the craft and the courage of the world's best.
Medium left and medium right over mud. And Frost, turn 90 left, opens into long flat left. Then 50 over Frost, turn long fast right, Frost. 120. Crest, 100 over ice, turn 90 left.
70. Easy right, fast left, keep in. To care, left max, bridge. Easy left. Minus. Meter right plus. To fast left plus. 50. Flat left over crest, in and 50. To fast right tightens and 30 to 60 plus. 70. Flat left over crest, 70, easy right. 50, long fast right. 120. Very long medium left. And easy right. 50, long medium right. 70. Long K left. And K right over crest, tightens into long back right, tightens. And medium left to crest. 50, long easy right, and flat left. And keep right over 50, a very long medium left. And turn very long back right, tightens and opens into long K right. And then very icy and continues. 80.
fast left, plus on crest, 70, clear fast left through dip, long. And right crest, 50, cut medium right, plus. To right water, jump. 80, 8 and turn 90 left, right, slippy.
Richard Burns doing his wash and go impression at the water splash at Chatsworth. Back to the action now here in the snow in Birmingham. Day 3, 9 treacherous stages in the ice and snow of the Lake District, and then on to Kielder and the Northern Forest. It was now a head-to-head between Kankkunen and the current leader, Colin McRae. It was -6 in the Lake District. Dawn on day 3 was breathtaking, all right, but for the drivers, no time to admire the view. This was their decision day. Colin McRae knew it more than most. Twice before, he'd led the rally at this stage in previous years, only to fail. He got through Grisdale West safely. Perhaps his luck was changing, or was that tempting fate? Kankkunen was simply happy to sit and wait. The world champion, wily in the arts of rallying, had McRae in his sights and knew that one mistake could put him back in front. It was all cat and mouse stuff. Suddenly, McRae was in trouble at Kershup. Our camera crew and Tony Mason were quickly to the scene.
Well, here we are in Kershope Forest, and drama has hit the Network Q RAC rally with the leader, Colin McRae, in great trouble. Smoke and steam. We've just arrived. Derek, I know Colin's just not here at the moment. What's happened?
Yeah, we've lost all the water. Ran about 15 miles with no water in the engine, and I think it's probably finished, but we're just going to try and start it again now it's cooled down a bit. You can see all the steam coming.
Did you lose a lot of time in there?
I think probably about 3 minutes. We had to drive very, very slowly. We just got it out of the stage and then it stopped, it seized.
The cruelest of blows, a branch in a ditch had broken the radiator.
What was the cause of it, Colin? Did the hose just go, or did you bump on something?
No, it's the bottom of the radiator's broken. It's always the rocks just come up and caught the radiator. Broke the bottom of it. So all the water's gone.
So, do you think you can do anything?
I don't think. I think the engine's been too badly cooked now. It did most of the stage with no water in it. So, that's it.
About 1 mile over the Scottish border when it happened.
I know, well, at least I'm near home.
There was now frantic activity as the Subaru team tried to get McRae's car going. He had about a half an hour to make the start of the next stage, but it was all looking hopeless, and finally for McRae, defeat was admitted.
Forget it. Well, Colin, you tried very hard. It looks as though it's over.
Yeah, it's not going to go again. Not this one anyway.
Well, if there's any consolation, all your millions of fans out there are going to feel just as devastated as you are.
Well, I don't know if they'll be quite as devastated, but there'll always be another year.
So that's your promise to them?
Yep, next year. Said that last year.
With McRae now gone, it was Kenneth Eriksson offering the real threat to Kankkunen. The 37-year-old Swede was setting a blistering pace, now in second spot. Malcolm Wilson in his Ford Escort Cosworth was having one of those up and down sort of days. He dropped from 3rd to 5th after a mishap in the Grisdale Forest.
What happened was a big yump in there, and then the car landed with sort of one wheel off the road, and I think just in the ditch there must have been a big stone or something like that, and it just bent the suspension leg, which in turn put the tyre into the suspension. So of course we had to do about 6 miles with no tyre on.
The Frenchman Francois Delacour was also handily placed on this, his second RAC rally. He recorded his first fastest stage time to stay with the leading group. As the day wore on, it was not so much the driving, but the weather conditions that were making all the news. There were numerous bumps and scrapes, including this spectacular crash involving Finland's Sebastian Lindholm in his Escort. By the time darkness fell, Kankkunen still led the rally, but even he was having his problems, losing 2.5 minutes after a double puncture. But his lead was still 1 minute and 21 seconds.
.50. Flat right, 120.
How was that last Kielder stage you had?
Slippery like before.
You went in 1 minute 10 seconds ahead of Kenneth. Have you increased that lead?
No, I lost some time. I was driving very bad on that stage, but I was so scared about the punctures again.
It was becoming a Scandinavian double act now. Sweden's Kenneth Eriksson right behind Kankkunen, bemoaning his lack of snow tyres, but still driving right on the edge. From joint sixth, he'd moved up to second position.
Kenneth, what was the last stage in Kielder like?
Like this other one, very slippy and a lot of snow, you know, and it's a lot of stones, so it's quite easy to have some puncture here.
But you came through without a puncture?
Yeah, we took care.
Malcolm Wilson was finishing with a real flourish in Kielder. The last 4 stages of the third day saw him fastest in 2. It was enough to push him back into third position.
140.
Gwyndaf Evans was still comfortably heading the Group N cars. He had his problems like everyone else, but finished the day 11th overall. Formula 2 was led by David Llewellyn. He admitted it was scary driving a front-wheel drive vehicle in these conditions.
It's treacherous. We saw Robbie head off in that last stage. It looked like he was off to stay off. I mean, not badly off, but the ditches are so deep. And the front cars are polishing the surface, and sometimes we have terrible trouble getting up the hills in the two-wheel drive car.
Really?
Yeah.
Only 100 cars survived the snow and ice of day 3, with the Ice King Kankkunen still the man to beat. Now, it's nearly always the drivers who make the headlines in rallying, but the co-drivers, they play a vital role too. Kankkunen has a Welshman next to him. Nicky Grist joined this year's winner earlier in the season and gives quite an insight into his driver's skill.
You've had a remarkable year when you joined him and had 2 big wins. And, I mean, what is it like sitting next to you, Kankkunen?
We seem to take it for granted after a while, because the times, I mean, you can just concentrate on what you're doing, never have to think about what he's doing. You know he's always in control, very rarely a wheel out of place. And you appreciate it even more when you look at that last stage we've done, which was solid ice from start to finish. And okay, minor little scrape here and there, but we drove exceptionally well, and that's when you see how good somebody is.
When they're worrying about what tyre choice, and it's obviously a very important thing on this rally, do you have any input on that?
Yeah, we have a discussion about it. What do you think? Is that okay? Is this okay? And yeah, I mean, you have to chat together. But really, tyres, especially in the conditions of the last stage, you can't choose the right tyre, because the right tyre is a spike tyre, where we just take a gravel tyre and with ATS so we don't pick up a puncture and just hope for the best, because really none of the tyres that we have work well in these conditions.
So on a stage like that, which is really icy, I mean, how many moments do you have?
I think, how many did we have? Actually, not so many. 2, that's all. 2, that's all. But okay, a couple of big slides, but 2 where we actually got to the edge of the road, but we did quite well, actually.
What's it like sharing a car with Juha, his personality and so on?
Yes, we get on very well. I mean, we got on very well, even from the start. Very quiet chap, but we have a good laugh and a joke now and again, and basically it's going quite well.
And of course, you play golf together, but you won't be doing very much of that on this rally.
No, sure not. Bit of ice skating, maybe.
Back to today's rally action now. Juha Kankkunen leading the way on day 4 from the start at Gateshead this morning. 7 stages in all for the survivors as the rally headed south from the northeast to Birmingham. In such poor weather conditions, anything could still happen.
After a welcome respite in Gateshead, the 100 survivors headed into Hamsterley in snowy North Yorkshire. This first forest stage should have been 15 miles long, but the rally officials decided that much of it was virtually impassable and promptly halved it. But it was business as usual for rally leader Kankkunen, who was fastest to extend his lead to 1.5 minutes. Kenneth Eriksson is nothing if not resilient. The Mitsubishi star hit back on the next Crompton stage and took 13 seconds off Kankkunen. But it only served to raise false hopes. Kankkunen piled on the pressure and was faster than Eriksson on all of the remaining stages. Once again, the Swede had to settle for second place for the third time in 4 years. Not a bad record.
Oi. We was in ditch one time, but we was coming up again, was no problem.
So you didn't lose much time?
No, not really. You are beat us by, I think, 9 seconds here.
9?
Yeah, that's not so good.
Malcolm Wilson claimed third place after a truly magnificent, measured and typically gutsy drive. We must remember that he was driving his own team car, and he richly deserved the reward of his best ever placing on his 18th attempt.
Care braking. What the hell's that? Crest to medium right.
This was certainly a popular success for Malcolm and Brian Thomas, especially after their disappointing British season. Richard Burns also won the plaudits of the home fans. The 22-year-old proved he had a mature head on his young shoulders, driving a four-wheel drive car for the first time on an RAC rally. Seventh overall, he must surely step up into the world arena soon. Alistair McRae did his bit to uphold family honour and make up for Colin and Jimmy's disappointments. He finished a strong 10th, 9 minutes ahead of his closest challenger.
All we're wanting to do is get to the finish now. We've got a slight chance of catching Mads Johnson, but we're not going to take any risk trying to.
Well, he's really miserable. He can't cope with it. He says it's terrible without studded tyres.
I know, that's what happens when you're brought up on studded tyres. We haven't had anything, so it doesn't matter. We don't know what it's like.
Cheerful Welshman Gwyndaf Evans finished 11th overall, just as he did last year. He also, of course, won Group N by a massive margin of nearly half an hour. Fellow Celt David Llewellyn held his Formula 2 lead and finished in 12th place to crown a superb season for the Vauxhall Astra. Yorkshire's Johnny Milner used his local knowledge to good effect. He moved up from 15th to 13th despite the deep snow. Mad Mick Jones is in danger of losing his reckless reputation. He put up his best ever performance to bring his privateer Mitsubishi home 15th, the top performance by a private entrant. And Mark Higgins was naturally delighted with his excellent 19th placing, his first finish in an RAC rally. Lichfield's Paul Dias will also be celebrating his best RAC performance tonight. He rounded off the top 20 in his Group N Sierra to make it 6 Fords, 4 Subarus, 3 Toyotas, 3 Mitsubishis, 2 Vauxhalls and 2 Skodas on the leaderboard, the fastest showroom in town.
And there it is, the final leaderboard confirmation there of Kankkunen's win in the Toyota, followed by his fellow Scandinavian Kenneth Eriksson in the Mitsubishi. Fantastic performance from Malcolm Wilson and his Ford Escort Cosworth in third, and Richard Burns doing well. And here it comes now, the winning Toyota of Juha Kankkunen, this year's winner of the RAC Rally. And you can hear the reception. Great moment for Kankkunen. His first season with Toyota, and what a day it is for him. He's come through some pretty appalling weather to get here, but now he's in Birmingham and a very happy man. I think we're going to see some wasted champagne now. This will be his 20th World Championship win. That makes him the most successful rally driver of all time. I think the hands are too cold. No, they're not. Here we go. I think Juha's having a few problems there with the cork. His hands obviously very cold in this bitterly cold weather. Here we go. And some for the camera for good measure. He's been successful in the Safari, Argentina, the 1,000 Lakes, Australia, and now here in Britain.
Thank you. Yeah. Ah, the Finnish flag. We must have the Finnish flag before we start. Look at that. Great. Yes. Juha, would you come down here? Okay. Juha, congratulations. Fantastic drive. This is, in fact, your third RAC rally win. How did it compare with the other two?